G'day there folks, hope you're all having a fantastic day. My name is Connor and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight into it. Okay guys, kicking off on relationship advice. This one was written by a throwaway account and it's titled, How do I deal with unexpected jealousy over my ex-husband's new girlfriend? My 41, ex-husband 42, and I divorced when our son was 7. Fast forward to now, our son's 15, 16 in a few months. Somehow we managed to go from divorced and done to actually being pretty good friends. Like we choose to hang out sometimes, not only when it involves our son, and we get along better than ever. It's worked out way better than I ever expected. My ex has started seeing someone new. They've been together for a little while now, but it's started to get more serious lately. I've met her, but don't know her well. My son is around her a lot more than I am, and he likes her a lot. I hate that this bothers me, like I'm genuinely embarrassed by how irritated I felt hearing him say how nice she is, how fun she is, how she makes his dad happy. I plastered on a smile and said all the right things, but inside I was surprised by how jealous I felt. She doesn't like that my ex and I are friends. She's fine with us communicating for our son, but the idea of us hanging out just because we want to is an absolute no in her book, and he's started to pull back a little. He's not saying it out loud, but I can tell he's trying to adjust our dynamic to keep the peace in his new relationship. It stings. Months ago, we planned a special trip for our son's 16th birthday, just the three of us. It was meant to be a shared memory, a kind of family-ish experience to mark a big milestone. It revolves around something my son is obsessed with, something my ex and I both enjoy too. But now the girlfriend's coming, despite having no interest in the activity. I found out from my son, not my ex, which made it even worse. I haven't confronted him about it yet because I don't know how to bring it up without sounding jealous or possessive, but I'm honestly upset. It feels like a sacred little space that used to belong to the three of us is slowly being taken over, and I feel helpless to stop it without looking like the crazy ex-wife who can't let go. I didn't expect to feel this jealous, and I really don't want to come off as the crazy ex, but honestly, it feels like I'm losing way more than just a friendship here. I've worked really hard to be mature, supportive, and emotionally steady in this co-parenting journey. How do I manage these feelings without making it weird or damaging the progress we've all made? And how do I set boundaries, if I even can, without turning this into a drama-filled mess? Yeah, that's tricky. Opie's definitely not crazy, but it's clear to see that she's definitely not over this guy, whether she wants to admit it or not. And at the same time, I don't think it's that unreasonable for the girlfriend to feel uncomfortable about the relationship too. Not sure what to do here, other than, I don't know, try and make friends with the girlfriend. Let's see what the comments think. Sounds to me like you're not over your ex. I don't know who ended it or why. It's great that you can effectively co-parent, but it's not normal to plan a shared memory trip with an ex, and frankly, I don't know many people who'd be okay with their partner going away with an ex. Opie replies, We didn't really intend to plan a trip for the purpose of going on a trip together originally. A band we love is reuniting, and while we've both seen them before, in fact 20 years ago when we were a new couple, this is our son's first chance to see them, so that's why the trip is happening. And it happens to be happening right around our son's birthday, so we're celebrating his birthday as part of the trip too. I would feel tremendously uncomfortable if my partner hung out with his ex alone. It's a bit inappropriate. Him moving on and finding a new partner means your dynamic has to change, which really sucks, but it's inevitable. No girlfriend wants to play third wheel to her own relationship. It seems appropriate that she come on a family trip, especially if she's on the way to becoming his family. It's time to put distance between you and him. Make new friends that aren't your ex. She responds, I don't really think it makes sense for her to come on this trip. I think she's coming to chaperone us, because we're going to do something together with our son in the hotel room. You've been divorced for years and still act like you're together. You stopped being a family when you got divorced. No more family trips and stop hanging out as friends. You're not his wife anymore. You can't set boundaries on their relationship. Get therapy to figure out why you can't move on. She says, I don't think it means we stopped being a family, but just a family with a different arrangement. So, if you don't have romantic feelings for your ex, then I'm guessing the issue is the possibility that this woman may become your son's other mum, and you felt jealous and territorial when your son came home and told you how great she is. If this is the case, I can only imagine that this is very normal. feeling replaced or competitive with another woman he may call mum. Regardless of the underlying issue, this is bound to happen sooner or later, and you need to find a way to accept it, or it will make you miserable. I think you should get the help of a therapist to work through this, so you can be at peace and a better mum and co-parent. She replies, "To be perfectly honest, I guess I don't know 100% where these feelings are truly coming from, or what they're actually about. I feel very secure about the relationship I have with my son, but it does feel rather alien to have this other woman in his life in any way. Of course, I know she isn't acting like his mum, and I'm not accusing her of acting in any way like that. Maybe I feel left out thinking of the three of them doing stuff together." Sounds like a good trip for the new girlfriend to come on too, honestly. She can meet you, bond more with your son, and also learn about his interest in the band. And yes, it's really weird that you want to see a band together with an ex that was special while you dated. Even if you are friends now, this is not a common activity for exes to undertake. She replies, "People want to say I'm going on this trip for sentimental purposes to do with my ex-husband. Ha! If anything, the sentimental part has more to do with the first love of my life and the first man I ever gave my heart to, Noel Gallagher. I was saving for him when I was a teenager. Unfortunately, that plan was thwarted after I was nearly arrested trying to sneak backstage at one of their shows. I saw them many times, travelled all over the country. I'm in the US. It's hard to explain just how much of my heart this band owns, but maybe if people could understand this part, they would understand that my ex-husband is not really my main focus here." Oasis reunion tour. Okay, onto an update. At the beginning of June, I asked for help with navigating these feelings I have regarding my son, my ex-husband, and his new girlfriend. Thanks to everyone who replied. Even though I don't think I got a ton of specific, actionable advice, I got a lot of opinions and some solid advice. I definitely heard the recurring message loud and clear. Therapy. Some of the comments were genuinely helpful in nudging me to start unpacking the root of what I'm actually feeling, so I appreciate that. Will I go to therapy right now? Honestly, probably not immediately, but we'll see. Most of all the issues are things I just need to work through on my own, but I decided to just ask my ex-husband directly about the whole concert and birthday trip situation. I told him that our son had mentioned his girlfriend is now coming on the trip, and I needed clarity about what the plan was so I could figure out hotel stuff. I kept it as neutral and non-confrontational as possible. Truthfully, I don't want her to come, and I'm still sort of seething over her being there. He admitted he hadn't told me yet because he was still hoping she'd back out. He said he doesn't want her to come, that it's going to make things awkward, and that she kind of inserted herself into the plan and made it really clear she expected to be invited. He felt like he couldn't say no without it hurting their relationship. He even said, "You think I want to go on the trip with both of you?" I suggested that maybe I should give her my concert ticket and buy a separate one so I wouldn't have to sit near them and she wouldn't have to stay back at the hotel. Or maybe I should just plan to take my son to a completely different date on the tour altogether, since it was probably going to be very awkward for all of us, especially since he was now claiming he also didn't want her to come. I don't want to buy a ticket and sit separately. I don't want to plan a whole other trip to a different tour date. The thought makes me really mad, but I felt like the adult thing to do was to at least suggest it. Maybe I just wanted to see what his reaction would be. He immediately said there was no way I was giving my ticket to her or sitting separately. He said there's no way I'm backing out or going to a different show. We've been planning this for almost a year. We did agree to cancel the shared hotel room and book separate rooms. I didn't bring up the fact that his girlfriend isn't thrilled with us spending time together. I feel like that's something I just need to accept. Most people in new relationships with someone who has a close relationship with an ex would probably feel the same. It's uncomfortable, but I get it, and I'll deal with those feelings on my own. What's hardest for me, though, is how much I still default to texting or talking to him. We used to talk daily, not just about things related to our son, but everything. He's been my best friend for over 20 years, and before anyone jumps in and says I sound like the obsessive ex calling him that, he's said the same about me. I haven't had another best friend in a really long time. I had 2 close girlfriends years ago. Both of those friendships are long gone. Not due to any sort of falling out, but due to reasons I don't want to get into here. Since then, I've struggled to find another close female friend, someone I really connect with on that deeper level. I have friends, just nobody like that. I'd say my ex-husband is the person I'm most myself with, and the person I'm closest to in the world. So yeah, my ex is still that person, and I'm starting to realize that while I don't want him back romantically, I do still see him as mine. Not in a possessive, malicious way, but in that I think I've just never fully adjusted to him being someone with a life completely separate from mine. It's like he's still a character in my story, not somebody with an entire life of his own. I'm also trying to take the advice of getting to know his girlfriend, while also trying not to over-involve myself in their lives. I don't want to become best friends with my ex-husband's girlfriend, that just sounds uncomfortable to me. I spent some time over at his house today, and she was there. They don't live together, yet. He watched my dog for me overnight because I had a work event to go to. Well, it's my son's dog too, so the dog basically went over to his dad's with him. They have a splash pad for the dogs over there, so we were playing around with the dogs in the backyard. He starts asking me like, top 5 albums of all time, go. And then we get into a friendly argument about our favourite albums, which evolved into top 5 guitarists, etc. And these are the things we get along about. I suddenly got the sense that she was not happy about our conversation, since she doesn't seem to care about those things and couldn't participate in the conversation. I tried to steer the conversation in another direction so that she wasn't left out, but I'm terrible at making small talk. I decided to make my excuses to politely leave at that point. So now I guess it's just a matter of figuring out how you start emotionally detaching from someone who's been my closest person for so long, especially when you still co-parent and have to interact regularly. How do I detach? I never detached after we got divorced, even though I thought I had. Right, so it's not just OP who is still codependent on her ex, it's the guy as well. Let's read some final comments. I read this on the other update subreddit, and I'm still curious what caused the divorce in the first place between OP and her ex-husband. Honestly, I was kinda iffy on the whole thing until OP started talking about cancelling the shared hotel room. Someone replies, I could have sworn I put that info in the relevant comments. She said this in a comment on her first post. Quote, the screaming, the wrestling each other to the ground, the I hate yous, the name calling. Yeah, they were that bad. Very embarrassing to admit all of that. I do think we've both grown from that time, but it still scares me that I could ever behave that way. The how do I detach would be something a therapist could help her with, so I hope she actually does that. This is a good first step for her, because the next step is her son finding a partner someday maybe, and she's got to learn to make their world bigger and be okay with it, or she risks alienating the son and the ex. 20 years of friendship is cool, but it really sounds like he's still the husband in everything but bed. Talk every day? No girlfriend is going to be cool with that. Quote, we did agree to cancel the shared hotel room and book separate rooms. Yeah, there's a red flag for a couple who can't fully accept they haven't been together for a long time. I was feeling bad for the girlfriend reading this. She deserves better. I don't think she's getting enough credit for managing her emotions and reactions in person and around her son while having more complicated thoughts she's only venting here. People are allowed to have complex feelings while navigating new situations. They're not allowed to make those feelings someone else's problem, and she isn't. She's doing all the right things and still getting so much flack. While yes, therapy would probably be a good thing for her, it doesn't stop you from having those feelings, just managing and understanding them better. I think she's asking the right questions, and with some time and work, this will end up being a good thing for her to be able to start a new phase and let new people into her life. Yeah, that's a great optimistic way of looking at things. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, that's it for that story. I'll look out for any future updates, but moving on. Okay, we're over on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for not allowing my friend to bring her service animal, guide dog, to my wedding? I, 28 female, will be getting married in September. I have a blind friend who mostly relies on her guide dog. The dog obviously has access rights to all places. Now I'm in a sticky situation, and I can sense that I will be the a-hole. I have 3 chronic illnesses that I take 23 pills a day for, severe asthma, and you guessed it, an extremely severe dog allergy. Usually when I meet with my friend, we meet in the open and I take 2 allergy pills. However, because of all the other medication I take, these pills make me extremely drowsy to the point where I'm officially not allowed to drive, and I usually crash as soon as I get home from our get-togethers. Our wedding will be very intimate, i.e. we will be in relatively small rooms. I feel horrible about this, but I don't think I can let my friend bring her dog. It just wouldn't work. I talked about it with my fiancé and some friends. Finally, I talked to my friend about it, explained the situation, and said I would love her to come, but she can't bring her dog. I said that 4 of our mutual friends had offered to be on a roster and assist her should she need it. Alternatively, if she's not comfortable with this, she could bring a person of her choosing to the wedding, or I'd pay for a professional aide for the day. I think it's important to note that her dog is not for any additional issues like seizures or anything like that. Unfortunately, she was less than happy with my suggestions. She accused me of being ableist and thinking her disability can be switched off for the day. I understand what I asked was a lot, and it is a difficult topic. I told her to tell me if she changes her mind, and I'd be happy to make arrangements, but I won't budge. Geez, this seems like a situation where no one can win. Let's go to the comments. No a-holes here, although I will point out if the facility is that small that you'll be incapacitated even with your RX, then you shouldn't have invited her in the first place and just told her it was really just family only. She replies, I don't think that would have worked as 4 of our mutual friends who are not family are coming. Not the a-hole, it's an ESA, not a medical animal. I love dogs more than humans, but in this case, the dog can stay home, and your friend needs a reality check. She says it's actually not an ESA but a service animal. Can I suggest an alternative? Can your friend have her service dog groomed right before the wedding where they bathe and brush the dog with one of those Furminator-type shampoo conditioner brush-outs? It really helps cut down on the shedding and would greatly help with the allergies that you have. She says it wouldn't be enough. Where's Opie located at? South Australia. Why would Opie invite the friend if the guide dog cannot attend? Well, because she sometimes goes out without it. Not very often, but when it's at the vet's. And she sometimes goes without her dog, and we've been friends for 12 years. Not inviting her seems wrong. She only has about 10% vision, no seizures. Have you thought about changing the setup of the wedding due to the pandemic? I'm not sure how comfortable I would be going to a wedding in small rooms in September. Will you and the guests be wearing masks? The mask might help filter out the allergens. If you move the ceremony outside, that may give you more options as far as social distancing, as well as your friend and her service animal being there. Opie replies, we haven't had any cases of COVID-19 in over 2 months, so everyone is pretty comfortable. Moving outside is not an option because of my hay fever. No a-holes here, just wondering how you became friends with her if you have a dog allergy and she's blind with a guide dog. She says she only got the dog a few years ago. I see, but then can't she survive a day without the dog like she did before? Well, she can and does, but it's not my place to judge that. Okay, onto an update, almost 2 months later. Some of you may remember my post. Well, since I have gotten married. We decided to get married sooner than we planned because the situation was good where we live and we didn't want to risk having to cancel if numbers spike. Before, I took your advice and called my friend. I explained how severe my allergies are once again and told her how I really want to be able to enjoy my wedding day. I apologized for making suggestions and not simply asking her, and said she's welcome to bring up any ideas that would help her being able to attend. She told me she still wanted to, that do not include her dog. She was adamant that it was her dog or nothing. While disappointed, I was prepared for that, and told her that would not be possible and that she would be missed at the wedding. We sent out the new invitations with the new date and simply didn't invite her, so technically she wasn't invited. Some of our mutual friends that are in the wedding told me that she'd asked them not to attend in solidarity, but luckily they all thought that was ridiculous. We had a beautiful wedding and spent our honeymoon in the Flinders Ranges, which I can really recommend. As for my friend, I'm open to reconciliation, but she'll have to make the first step. So that's it. While it didn't go as I hoped, I'm still in a happy place now, enjoying my life as a married woman. Some final comments. Yes, you are the a-hole. Your friend was wrong to try to sabotage your wedding, but you asked a person with a disability and a service dog to not bring the dog. You actually are in violation of the Americans with Disability Act. A service dog has the legal right to go anywhere their handler goes. I once called the police on a restaurant that was refusing to allow a service dog, citing health laws. Trying to explain the requirements for service dogs, they still refused. The police intervened and the individual and I had a lovely dinner. Apologies are needed from both sides. Opie says this wasn't in the US and it wasn't a public place. Just a question, how were you able to be friends with her outside of your wedding if she has a guide dog? Surely it accompanies her wherever she goes. Were you exclusively friends online or via phone? We've been friends long before she got her dog. Quote, she'd asked them not to attend in solidarity. Well, if there was any doubt about your friend, this cleared things up. I'm happy you got to enjoy your wedding. Congratulations. Geez, that comment at the end there about the US Disabilities Act was pretty grim. Not the brightest bulb, that's for sure. Another comment says, the friend can't turn off her condition, and neither can OP. What part of that did the friend not understand? I thought it was pretty rich of the friend to accuse OP of ableism while refusing to even try to accommodate her major and debilitating medical problems. OP was bending over backwards to accommodate her friend, and all she got in return was a personal attack and an attempted sabotage. Shaking my head. Alrighty guys, and that's the end of that story, and that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed that one, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.